So our next speaker is Zumi Njongwe, Consumer Communication and Marketing Excellence Director at Nestlé. Zumi has over 18 years experience across a number of markets, including South Africa, West and East Africa, with a unique focus on building portfolios, brands, and teams in new markets. Zumi's lockdown learning has been the importance of maintaining the chemistry with her team and ensuring that she displayed an energizing, authentic, and empathetic leadership style to help others get through this time. I have to agree with Zumi. Like, empathy is a huge thing that I've learned over this period. The topic today is Goodbye Guesswork, working out what customers want. Welcome, Zumi.
Thank you, Pepe. Sanbonani, what a privilege it is for me to be here. So thank you very much for inviting me. My topic today will be to talk about what consumers want. In recent years, business has increasingly viewed as a major cause of social, environmental, and economic problems. We are perceived to be prospering at the expense of our communities and other issues. Our role in driving corporate responsibility hasn't yielded much gain. Actually, in some cases, has exacerbated the situation. Perhaps then, our view of creating value is outdated, a little bit short-termist, and grounded in optimizing our gains in a perceived bubble of indifference. Now, as marketers, we can no longer stand on the sidelines. We have to have roles that are connected to the societies in which we live, the communities in which we exist, and the environment in which we operate. We must look at how we lead and drive, shaping the future in which we want to live for ourselves and our families. And because marketing plays such a critical role in shaping and mirroring culture, it is important. Today, more than ever, we must reconstruct our world and be a part of the solution. Because if we are not part of the solution, then we will certainly be a part of the problem. So why does this matter? It's clear that we have a lot of pandemics, guys, right? One of them is gender-based violence. And in South Africa, we know this far too well for our liking. Because youngsters are no longer deferential to the status quo. And you know what? They don't follow the paradigm of do as I say the way we did. So given that we're not doing such a great job in leading them, they will change the world and we will become obsolete if we don't change. I saw a placard once on the Black Lives Matter movement that I found really, really insightful. And it said, you have messed with the last generation. Not quite in such PC words, but you get the gist. Because of this is the deficit of leadership we have in the world that obviously makes us even more disconnected as a humanity. And by the way, this is not just in politics, but in business too. This guy is the ex-CEO, Greg Glassman, of CrossFit, who made some very insensitive remarks around the issue of the Black Lives Matter and the George Floyd situation. Fortunately, he decided to step down, which is more than we can say for some of our leadership here in our countries. And of course, this has been mentioned before, I won't belabor it, the latest pandemic we are living through, which is the devastating impact of COVID, will have long-standing ramifications for us. And guys, for those of you who've been around long enough will know, we've had many recessions. And you know, what happens after all of these is that new brands, new portfolios come up. And actually, the competitive environment will just accelerate for all of us. So, if these are the problems, what's the solution? So, in my view, we need to start moving from looking at shareholder value into driving a new framework, which is moving ourselves into shared value. This is not news for many of us here today, but the question is, what is our role as marketers in driving shared value? So first of all, let's get onto the same page on what it is and what it isn't. It is not social corporate responsibility, and it is not philanthropy, no matter how well-intentioned those things are. It is really about looking at putting society, our communities, our environment at the center of our strategies. We need to link our success with social progress. And this means that shared value needs to be at the heart of our businesses, at the heart of our brands, and not at the margins of it. There are 3 ways we can do this. 1, we can reconceive our brands and our portfolios, very exciting. That's where we get very, very involved. We lean in quite hard. Number 2, we can redefine productivity in the value chain. Again, I think as marketers, we have a role to play. And number 3, we can build supportive industries, in agencies, in sourcing, in driving our circular economies that will be very, very relevant for us. Guys, we have a role to play in all 3. We've got to lean in order to do that. Because the stories we tell about our brands are not just communication stories. They're about the end-to-end stories that come from where our brands are sourced and where they go. So, this is the starting point, which is you have to have purpose at the core. My previous colleague and marketer spoke really well about this. Listen, guys, if you're not clear about what your purpose is, you're in trouble. You know, you need to really start to think about how you apply this to the market. And if you think that this is just very relevant, according to these codes, to other markets, think again. It does apply to us. In South Africa, we are ranked third in the highest in the world in terms of consumers who tell us we have to do well and we have to do good. Guys, it's an and scenario. For too long, us marketers have legitimized this idea that doing good is at the odds of economic benefits. And we have believed it. Maybe our CEOs have told us this, or our commercial directors, I don't know. And now you may ask yourself, what is our role? Isn't it supply chain's role to source the ingredients, make sure they come from the right place? Isn't it procurement's job to make sure I have the right partners that can help me? I can't do everything. But actually, we are the custodian of the consumer, and we have to walk the talk. And so our partners in our businesses have to see our voice as marketers to influence the genesis of these stories, end-to-end team. So time for just talking is over, given some of the challenges we face and we've gone through. So in reconceiving our brands and portfolios, I'll just cover a couple of thoughts for your consideration. Number 1, consumers want brands that they can trust. We all know this because this is what we've done, right? Think about it in your categories. I've done it too. I'm guilty. And so the level of trust is really a problem if we don't deliver against our promises. And this is what you get. This is what we get. Oh, sorry, in the previous slide, what I wanted to say was, in that veracity index that was done, it showed that we were less trusted than politicians. It cannot be. It cannot be that is the case. So we need to be questioning ourselves around what it is that we need to do. The second thing is, consumers are more and more thinking of themselves as brands. So authenticity has become a real big issue. I'll share with you some very short examples. Big players are facing constant market share losses to the newcomers. This is a great example of Pukka Tea. Pukka Tea is a UK brand that realized the growth of organic trends and that their consumers were increasingly looking for health and natural products. They then came on board and they created this brand that was really about looking at giving that, but also taking care of the planet and also driving being good for you credentials. And so, you know, the big brands woke up a little bit late and started to decline. If you don't believe that, I'll give you another example. For those of us who are parents, we are very familiar with this brand, but not the other one. Lily Dough is a German brand born 5 years ago in Germany. And it took on Pampers. And really, its shared values spoke about the responsibility in their supply chain and in their value chain in terms of sourcing, the way they test, and the way they talk to consumers. Superb. Again, a risk for the big brands. One more, just in case you're not convinced. Another example of Colgate, another iconic brand in Asia, saw a big decline when this really humble brush brand was born, and that really took away a lot of market share. First of all, it was less expensive to produce, it was indeed environmentally friendly, and it looked after the communities in which it worked because it gave away 1 free toothbrush for every purchase that they received. By the way, Colgate was also doing that. They just didn't communicate it, and so they missed an opportunity there. So you get the picture. The next one is consumers are really looking for services that add value. I've got a fantastic example. In the J&B Hive, in my previous role, we had a J&B Hive that incubated young entrepreneurs. Out of that came some great examples of entrepreneurship. Because, you know, in South Africa, we're not lacking talent, we just lack opportunities. This young man, Lethabo Mokoena from Davidton, started a sneaker cleaning business called Walk Fresh. Man, if you're a sneakerhead, I suggest you try their business out. I'm not advertising. They collect, they clean, and they return sneakers. And they clearly understood the importance of sneakers among sneakerheads and the sneaker culture and the insights that drive that. They're taking advantage of that evolution and using it to start a business. Where's the shared value, you might ask? What he does is he uses his assets in Ekasi, where he works, to create spaces for entrepreneurs to meet up, to collaborate, to have meetings, to network, and use his resources. Superb example. The next one will be consumers wanting unique experiences. I will use this example from my current life. So we have a superb brand called KitKat, and when we used to be able to fly, we had a painful process that you could recognize when your flight used to get delayed. And so KitKat realized that there was opportunity to create an idea around turning pain into pleasure. Have a look.
High up in the sky, that's where I wanna be. It is just you and me. Hold my hand above the clouds. Nothing can stop us now. Just let me show you how. Come with me and have a break from things that bring you down. We'll take off and leave it all behind. Flying high up in the sky, that's where we're gonna be. Open your eyes and see, there's a whole world waiting for you and me.
Lovely. And then finally, we have to be a force for good team. And because I'm running out of time, I'm just going to play this example because it's self-explanatory.
Kids love to use their hands. Kids explore the world with their hands. In India, they use their hands for one more thing: eating. Not washing their hands with soap is one of the main causes for illnesses and dropouts. In rural schools of India, kids still use chalk and slate to write. So Savlon, one of India's leading hygiene brands, gave shape to a simple idea: chalk sticks infused with soap. Introducing Savlon Healthy Hands Chalk Sticks. These worked just like regular chalk sticks, but at lunch break, they did more than just writing. The chalk powder turned into soap on its own. These chalk sticks have been introduced in schools across the country. Along with national news coverage on TV, this simple innovation got featured in over 70 newspapers.
Because we don't have enough time, please do watch it. I just think that is superb. That's the kind of work that just makes it all worthwhile. So in summary then, let's ensure we drive shared value, however it shows up. across our areas of responsibility. In order for us to shape and create the world we want to live in, we have an obligation as marketers to blaze the trail and not be afraid to drive more than just commercial value. We must be a force for good wherever we are. And we can do that by reconceiving our brands and our portfolios to drive this very much needed approach. It's time we stand up. Ngiyabonga.